Welcome back to Up the Villa and Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, rumours, links, noise, murmurings, incomings, outgoings. You name it, you'll find it here over the course of the transfer window. If you are new around here, make sure you are subscribing. Get on the journey with us. If you love transfer news, you'll find it here over on Up the Villa. Let's have a light target then of 800. Let's go 800 on this transfer episode, and comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Aston Villa are linked with another right back who can play in central defence. Oscar Mingueza from Celta Vigo is linked with a move to Aston Villa. This rumour is coming from, let me just get it on the screen for you. It is coming from Marcos Benito 9, who in the translation of his post is saying Unai Emery'S Aston Villa are interested in Oscar Mingueza for the winter transfer market. The player has a contract with Celta Vigo until June 2026. So interesting news coming from Marcos Benito, who is bringing us the rumour, and he's got a decent following. El Chiriguito TV have got over 2 million followers as well. So that's where the source is coming from on this one. And just like we had the rumour the other day about the right back, we've got another one now. We know that Unai Emery is in the market for players. We know we want to bring players in. We know the positions that we need to bring in. And this one is quite interesting because Oscar Mingueza is a little bit different to the Wesley profile from the rumour that we saw a couple of days ago. Wesley was very attacking, very direct, very pacey. But Mingueza is a different type of profile of a right back. And I think it's interesting, before we get into it, I think it's interesting to probably talk about what we want from our right back. And I think if we do go to the tactical pad, and I've got it set up for the episode that I did earlier on today, the debrief. A lot of you have really enjoyed it, so I'll tag that onto the end of it. And we was talking about Maatsen, and we were talking in depth tactically on the performance against Leicester. But I think our right back position is quite interesting because we don't just want a right back that's going to be going up and down, up and down, up and down. Our system is quite structured. And I think for certain games, when we see Konsa go over there at times, we do want a different type of performance from Konsa compared to Cash. We want a little bit more control. We want Konsa to probably stay at home a little bit more. But then there are occasions where he will venture forward and he will have to get into those attacking areas. And then that's where we start to see a little bit of a downfall. So I think Mingueza is a little bit of a combination between Cash and Konsa. You've got a little bit more stature than probably what Cash has got, but then he's got the ability to go forward and get into those advanced areas. So I think structurally, I think he merges the two players together, and I think Emery will really like that balance of what a Mingueza can do for Aston Villa. So we'll have a little look at what his stats and what the data's saying, and then we'll go through some of the key attributes of what I can spot from when I've seen him play, and then we'll just break that down, and hopefully you'll get a bit of a better understanding about Oscar Mingueza. So he's 25 years of age. He's a Spanish international. He's got 2 caps. So I'm not surprised. Well, I'm surprised that we haven't seen more Spanish players come into Aston Villa. So I think this probably fits a little bit of a Monchi and an Emery mould. His market value is around 21 million euros. He's got a creativity of 74. This season in La Liga, he's got a 7.19 rating. So he's above the 7 mark that I really look for within a player when I'm looking at his stats. He's had some real standout performances in the last 5 games, a 7.2, a 7.6, a 7.0, a 6.9, and then he's tailed off against Sociedad with a 6.3. If you have a little look at his heat map from this season, it will paint a little bit of a picture for you. So what you can see is that the red line pretty much goes up until the 18-yard box, and then he can venture in it from time to time as well. You can also see that the width of the heat map is quite dense, so he can venture into a little bit more of that central midfield, stepping infield, which I think is quite important. You can see that he has played on that left-hand side as well. He can play as a centre-back as well, so you've got that little bit of versatility there. But I think he's more of a right back with some of his key strengths. So he's played 17 games. He's started 17. He's averaging 80 minutes per game. He's scored 2 goals with a conversion rate of 13%. He's got 5 assists, which is really important. And he's got an assist of 4. So he's outperformed what he's expected to do there by 1. We have 80% passing accuracy per game, 85 in his own half and 70% in the opposition half. And I think that's because he's trying to be a little bit more creative in the opposition half, which is what you would want to see. If it was 98 or 100% in the opposition half, he's an attacking fullback, then to me that's saying he's being a little bit too safe. 51% accuracy of his long balls, 58% of his chipped. We've got 2 clean sheets. We've got 1.2 tackles per game. We've got 4.2 ball recoveries per game. We've got 1 clearance per game. We've got successful dribbles at 45%, which is pretty decent, to be fair. Anything around 50, I think, is quite good. His duels are at 44% and his aerials are at 46%. So you'd want to see those go up a little bit. If we have a look at his transfer market, it's around 20 million euros. We can see that he's played 2 times for Spain. He's been involved within the Spanish youth setup as well. And here you can see that his main positions are right back, centre back, and right midfield. So he can play a little bit further forward as well. If we have a little look at FB Ref, you can see some of his stats here. His progressive passes are at 5.22 per 90, 2.45 progressive carries. Progressive passes received are at 4.59. We've got blocks are at 0.97. Clearances are at 1.38. So I think he would be a pretty solid addition to Aston Villa. If we have a little look at some of the areas that he gets joy and some of the areas that he excels in, he can get to the byline. He can cut inside. He can take players on, which is really good. His interceptions are good as well. Reading of the game is pretty solid. We can see here as well, standing tackles when he's 1v1, pretty strong, pretty robust in that area. This is something that I do like, and I think this is probably some of my favourite parts to his game, is that he can go on the underlap, which I think is good. So he can come into these areas and come inside a little bit more. You can see from another image here as well that we've got him playing a little bit more inside, which I think would give us a little bit more of an unpredictability, whether he can come inside as well. And then we can have Bailey who can stay out wide. And I think that's just giving us different options across that front line, that he's comfortable playing in these areas. So he's comfortable with the ball. He's got good vision as well. He's got a good weight of pass. And I think his passing accuracy is pretty good. Here we've got a little bit of skill when he was on that right-hand side. Nutmeg the player to go into the box as well. And then here we've got him picking up the ball pretty far out. Wants to have a little bit of a shot. This image, some reason, reminds me a little bit of like Ron Vlaar against Sunderland, where he just had a pop from distance. So I think it's a good player that could potentially come in, and I think it would be a player that can just give us different options, and I think it would help solve our problems. I think we're like a jigsaw puzzle at the minute, and we're just sort of missing that little bit of. And we're missing a couple of pieces that can just make it complete. So I kind of like this rumour. I think he's a solid player. I don't think he's got the flair. He's not a fring pong, up and down, pacey, lively. But I do think it's interesting to look at different types of profiles of player that could potentially play at right back. Like I said earlier, Wesley's a completely different player, but I think we've really got to make sure we get this right back absolutely perfect to what Emery wants. And I think the fact that he can get forward, but the fact that he can stay a little bit deeper and offer that protection, I think that's quite a good balance, to be fair, because we're not just looking for one fix. We're looking for someone that is comfortable when they're getting into the attacking third, but they've also got to be able to defend. And I think that's vitally important as well, because we're conceding far too many goals. And I think one of my big frustrations with Villa, and I will say we do look more solid with Mings and Konsa. I think that partnership's better. We've been struggling to find the right balance, the right partnership. And it does feel like at times, it doesn't matter what we've got at the minute, whatever option we've got, we're still conceding goals. So a fresh face and a fresh body to help bolster the defence, I think is mightily important across the whole landscape of Aston Villa. So, yeah, nice little rumour for you to get your teeth into. So, Villa fans, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on Mingueza, on how you're feeling about this rumour, how you're feeling about the transfer window. I'll put the debrief that I did on earlier today as well, so you can check that out if you're looking for some more content for today as well. So, yeah, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Comment your thoughts. That's just as important as subscribing. Make sure you are dropping a like on your way out of the video as well. So cheers, everyone. Up the Villa.